Hello friends and welcome to A Better Life. So in today's video, we'll learn about how to learn the long answers or how to learn the difficult topics. Now let me take you to the examination hall. Does this situation sound familiar to you?
Sheet.
And do you want to switch from this to this? So keep watching the video till the very end, because in this video, I am going to tell you some really interesting hacks to learn long answers or difficult topics. Today's video will be divided into 3 parts. Part 1 of the video will talk about the hacks to learn long answers. Part 2 of the video will talk about the don'ts to learn long answers. First thing first, how to approach the long answers, how to learn them. Number one thing, you do not have to rote learn. Alright, we are going to remember by understanding the context. Alright, and how do we do it? That brings us to our first hack, and that is focus on the structure of the information. For example, you open the book and there are pages and pages on a particular topic. What do? We start reading it and we start rereading it. But what you need to do is you need to follow the simple formula, and that is you read one paragraph and whatever you've read in that paragraph in one line with the pencil, write it down under that paragraph. So read second paragraph, write it down. Now, once you've done that, now what you need to do is you need to give the headings. Now, why are we giving the headings? To whatever we've learned is we are structuring the information. If the information is structured properly, our brain absorbs it very nicely. So next time, whenever you study, try giving a heading to whatever you've studied and try writing the summary of every paragraph that you've read in one line. Once you do that, you'll see that how quickly your mind is taking the information inside. Let's move on to the second hack, and that is to preheat the oven. Are we making a cake? Not at all. Now, what does this mean? This means that whenever you're starting with the reading of a particular topic from your book, before doing that, what you need to do is go on YouTube or Khan Academy and watch a video related to that topic. What will this do? This will make this topic really interesting and give you a background about that particular topic. And now when you will read the topic, you will really understand the topic. Do try it out. Now let's move on to the next hack, and that is ask questions. One mistake that we all commit is to read and reread in a very passive form. That means we're just reading, but our mind is not active. So what do we need to do is we need to make our mind active to grasp the information, to enjoy the information, to interact with the information. And what do we need to do for that? Whatever you are reading, alright, once you are through with your reading, ask yourself some questions related to that particular topic and try to answer those questions. Once you do that, you will see how actively your mind is involved in looking for the answers of that particular question, because human mind is very inquisitive and loves to look for answers. So next time, make questions of whatever you read. Now let's move on to the next hack, and that is to make notes or to study using the active recall method. Now, according to this, what you need to do is you need to first read the text. Number second, you need to close your books and now make the notes by just your understanding. Or I would say, if some topic has been taught to you in the class, what you need to do? After the class gets over, you need to invest 5 minutes in writing down in the bullet points of whatever you have learned today. Now, what you're doing here is you are not letting the information to go away from your brain. You are trying to capture the information in your mind. This will really help the information to pass on from the short-term memory to long-term memory. So do try it out and invest these 5 minutes right after your class to write the summary of whatever has been taught in the class. Now, let's move on to the next hack, and that is making diagrams or flowcharts. This means that whenever you read the answer, after every paragraph or after every 2 or 3 paragraphs, you can make a story in your mind. Now, how to make that story more interesting and how to make a story which you can remember in the exams also. So the best way is to make a diagram out of it. Some funny pictures, something very, very interesting. When you do that, you will always remember it in your exam time. You know why? Because the diagram representation has really compressed the entire data, and once you will see the diagram, it is easy to draw and you will compress the data and it is easier to remember. Now, let's come to the next hack, and that is use keywords. Now, what does this mean? This means that whenever you're reading a particular answer, what do? We make the story and we use the same story in the examination. But you know what do we forget? We forget the important keywords in that particular answer. And if we forget the keywords, we will not get good marks. Let's move on to the next hack, and that is to test yourself. This means that once you have learned the long answers, you need to test yourself. So if you want to test yourself, how will you do that? You need to record yourself on the phone and then listen to it. And once you listen to it, you'll know where is the information gap. And once you know the information gap, now you know that you have to work on that. Now let's move on to the don'ts. That means what all things we should not do while learning long answers. The biggest mistake that we make is we start repeating it again and again and again, and we start cramming everything. And you know what? When you go to the examination hall and the question is asked in a little different way, and we forget everything. So avoid cramming the answers. Number 2, do not waste your time in rereading. This is one of the approach that we all have been following from our childhood, and that is, if you need to learn something, what do? We read it, we reread it, we reread it. You know what? This is a very, very inefficient approach. I am not saying this. The research has shown that rereading is a really ineffective approach, and you should better switch on to active learning. Another don't is don't do passive reading. Passive reading is when you've taken the book in your hand and you're just reading, wherein your mind cannot comprehend the information. Your mind doesn't know what you're reading, but what are you doing? You're just reading and thinking about something else. So if you want to break this habit, so always do the active learning. Keep testing yourself in between and use all the hacks that we've just mentioned. So I hope that you found this video useful, and in case you did, so leave it in the comment section below that which one was your favorite hack. So I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care of yourself and stay productive. Bye-bye.